And it's just comical. But yeah.
Well, was that was the voice intimidating to you, or were you just so thrilled?
It, I think the majority of folks that would have heard it would have been scared.
Right.
But it was like, I was not afraid. I was not afraid at all. I was just like, okay, awesome. you know,
I would have
we'll
been
see what
too.
we'll see what happens when I come back, and but no one's ever been mean to me here, tried to harm me in any kind of way. Actually, when we started the work, they were offering bits of help in way of disembodied voices. So my husband was trying to hook something up, and he was saying to us, well, if I use these certain connections on these wires, it should work. A man voice, disembodied voice, said that won't work. And that was captured on film and stuff. And I turned around because it was so loud in my ear. And I turned around, I'm like, who's behind me? And we've had lots of help like that offering advice. So it's been really interesting.
So they're trying to help you make the jail the best it can be as well.
I think so. I think so. And they've offered us bits of information, and it's something, because sometimes you can have conversation, but it'll only go so far and you don't get the full of it. So
Right.
and you have to go back. And so sometimes to get the full answers, it takes time. So we had one night where they were telling us they could see us. They knew what color people's hair were, how many people were in the room. And I said, okay. I was just starting to get blown away by this point. And I'm like, I am having a time with this. So I put my hand on my forehead. I said, okay, if you can see me, we had a portal run in a portal box. I said, if you can see me, where is my hand? And they told me it was on my forehead. So I was just like, okay, all right, you can see us, obviously. We want to see you. How can that happen? You know? And the conversation, and we were having a conversation for probably a good hour. And I'm like, all right, help me out. What do I need to do to be able to see you? And they were saying that they needed more power. And I'm like, well, we've got these big, huge, giant, um, compressor, like for air for the cell blocks, but we don't want to use them. They're just not energy efficient. Like, we had them on for 2 hours, and it bumped my electric bill like $150, right? So it's
Whoa.
not. Yes, absolutely. That's so true. So we never want to use those. We want to get something more efficient in here. And my brother Toby said, should we turn those units on? And one of them said yes. I said, absolutely not. I cannot afford to run that for any length of time, right? So I said, there's got to be another way. If you want energy, I mean, this building has got so many breaker boxes, and pull the energy from the breaker boxes. I said, how many breaker boxes is in the building? And they answered me 5, and there is 5. And they said they couldn't get the energy like that. And
Really?
yeah, it was
I always
so,
assumed that they can.
well, I thought they could just harvest it from the source right there at the boxes, right? So
Right.
they told me, no, we would need a grid. And I'm like, okay, so a grid, what do you mean here? What kind of grid? And that's when the conversation stopped. So I haven't got my full answer on that.
Maybe they're researching.
Yeah,
Maybe they heard
so
that word somewhere and they thought, well, that's what we need. So they're having to figure out how to develop it.
So
That's
I'm like,
pretty interesting. Maybe they're
what?
consulting Tesla.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like, what? Do we need a power grid? Do we need
Yeah.
what kind of grid do we need? Or because I would like to see who I'm talking to here. And everybody's like, are you sure you want to see him? I'm like, I'm pretty sure. So
Right.
if I can help them manifest, that's what I'm trying to do here. So we talked about putting a small version of the Tesla wheel coil up in the infirmary.
Right.
And so we're working on that to do it safely without everybody's so afraid that I'm going to fry us in here. So, we're working on the plans for that too.
Maybe I said it just happened but we don't know what goes on. We don't know if they can't just find Tesla and go over some plans with them.
Well, I'm they're offering information, and I don't have it all yet, but we are going to get there. I think at some point we will get there. So I want to be able to let them have that option to have it available here. That's what we do. We're developing a paranormal research center. So we want to have everything available. So if they want to show us, they can show us. Or, how sometimes atmosphere and different things involving Earth affects how they communicate. Like, generally speaking, during storms, the activity level here at the jail is low. It's very low. Right. And I know a lot of people say storms amp it up at places, but not here. So if we overcome some of these obstacles, they can talk at will all the time. Because there's times I just leave the box run up here all day long and let them go at it,
Right.
And if I can fix it to where they can just show up and talk whenever, because they're here much of the time anyway.
Well, they pretty much are. They seem to they live there.
Yeah, and we get disembodied voices quite often, but I think sometimes they don't have enough to be able to do it more often. So if I can give them that, that's what I'm trying to do.
Right. Well, I think that's brilliant. We have a question for you, and that is, have you captured anything with your SLS camera in the jail?
We have. Oh my goodness. Lori Dorsey knows all about that. She brought hers here first.
Right.
And captured Audrey playing with her Boo Bear up on the 3rd floor, and that was so exciting. And then we got our own, and we have captured, well, just for instance, last night, Audrey and the sheriff were on the 3rd floor. So we captured them there, and we got what we thought, Lori was at that one too, what we thought was probably Gary on the anniversary of his death in the cell block. Yes. And she captured him on her SLS. I believe it was him, the positioning of it and everything it had to have been.
Yes. But it wasn't a full-size human form, but it was a definitive form.
Absolutely.
In the appropriate location.
It was actually the exact size of a 10-year-old girl in the 3rd floor, though, playing with the bear. She caught her with the bear at the time that the bear would talk, Right. So I'm pretty convinced about that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And we ran that last night and caught stuff all through the building last night. For the kids' fundraiser, all the resident spirits, and I'm talking about all of them, showed up. So it was fantastic, and I thanked them, and they did a great job. The kids did a great job. The spirits did a great job, and It was awesome.
I wonder if there is anything that they would consider a neat treat for working so hard to make that happen. Have you ever contemplated something that they might appreciate?
And that's a good question. Like something I could do special for them.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'll ask them on the next box session because that's a good question. That is actually, yeah. I mean, like, I think it made sense and it made for a happy evening when we did the birthday party for Gary.
Right.
So, I mean, I think they're just like people without bodies. So that's a good question, and I will ask them if they have any special requests.
Well, I think that's a great idea.
Uh-huh.
Because, yeah, they do show up and they do the things that they're asked a lot of the time.
They do.
I think that being rewarded for that might make them feel pretty amazing. If there is something that they would consider a reward.
Yeah, and that is a good question. And it also makes me think, what would they want? What would they want?
Well, we've never been in their shoes, as it were. So
right.
I can't wait to hear what you get on your next spirit session.
I'm going to ask them if there's something special they'd like to have.
Besides the grid, because they haven't got you the plans for that yet.
Yep, I don't have all the information. And I see Brenda's asked the question,
I was just fixing to go there. So.
How does Vincent get along with the jail population? I will tell you, it's a funny story with Vincent. He, it's a whole nother kind of ball of wax with him. Like if he's working in the cell blocks, there's certain places in the jail, he will wear headphones and play music loud. And I do believe that's because it creeps him out a little bit when he hears the talking in his ears and he's somewhere in it by himself in the building. Mm-hmm. He has often said if he sees something, he'll probably make a new doorway. My husband is so manly and tough and strong and smart, but he is skittish too, So I think if one of them showed themselves to him, he would be, yeah, he would have a problem with that. But with the noises, he's okay. He's okay if they're talking, but not when he's trying to work. Like one time he was in the bathroom, and this is crazy, and the male spirit that talks a lot, which I do believe is the sheriff, said something to him, and Vincent's like, no, not when I'm in here.
This is me time.
Yes,
that is so funny.
Not in here. So
that is funny.
It is.
Because he's normally such a cool, smooth character.
Uh-huh.
Really sweet, but very, very smooth.
He's okay with the talking and the noises and stuff for the most part, but I think he'd have a huge problem if he saw them.
Well, depending on what state they shared with him too.
That's true.
Because I have things I would prefer to not see. And I have found and been told that spirits tend to honor that, as it were. Yeah, they don't push if it's something that you're not ready for. But Lori said that she hopes to come back and see if they still don't like her.
It's funny though, when Lori was here the last time, we had the pantry light come on, and it's a motion light. You got to go all the way in there, and it came on, and one of the spirits on the box said to Lori, how's your husband?
Right.
And I asked Lori, I've known Lori for some time, and she's come here quite often, and I'm like, are you married, Lori? She says, oh yeah, my husband is a retired deputy.